everybody, it's April Dawn. Let's talk about it. American Crime Story, The Assassination of Gianni Versace, episode 2. Another excellent episode, y'all. We took a left turn on this episode and we found out that Andrew is a complete friggin' psychopath. Like, if you thought it was just, oh, he was a liar, oh, you know, he's a con artist, oh, he's this and that. If you thought he was anything other than a complete freaking psychopath, you were rudely awakened this episode. I thought it was excellent. The acting from the guy, I don't know his name, that plays the main character, that plays Andrew Cunanan, is fantastic. Like, his acting is superb. I was scared to friggin' death. I was scared to damn death the whole episode, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, we start off the episode in a flashback. This is March of 1994, and we are in Miami Beach, Florida. I think her name is Scorpio B. She corrected me last week and told me that it's Miami Beach, not Malibu or whatever I was saying last week. So they're in Miami, Florida, and Gianni Versace is at the hospital, and we've taken through tests getting diagnosed with HIV. So this is a fact that was widely contested by the family. They said this is not true. There's other people from the book, based off the book this show is made off of. They say that, you know, one of the people overheard or saw in the autopsy report that he was diagnosed with HIV, or they found HIV in his blood. Another person was saying something else, and that's why the family got his body cremated so quickly. So this whole montage at the beginning of the episode, 1994, he's getting diagnosed with HIV. He's very, very sick. He's with his boyfriend, and he starts telling the story about his older sister that he had. So they had another sister that was older than both of them, and he said that she was sick and they sent her home. And he said when he ran home that he saw her with the flowers on her body. So he said she looked so beautiful. So he thought that, you know, anytime you would get sick, there was a chance that you could get better, which I didn't get, because it's like, if you ran home and found her dead, why did you think that you could get, I don't know. I didn't really get that one, but y'all explain that to me in the comments if you got it. Donatella with the boyfriend, and Gianni is laid up. He's sick. He can't function. He can't work. And, you know, she's very angry with the boyfriend. She walks out of the room, and, or basically before that, her and Gianni have a talk about how, you know, what is Versace going to be without him. He said it's going to be you. He said you need to, you know, basically telling her you just gonna have to move on, you know, and you're gonna find out who you are after I pass away, or if I pass away. And so when she leaves out of the room, the boyfriend, she tells the boyfriend that he wanted more, and Gianni just went along with whatever they was doing, you know, with all the different men coming in and out. So she basically is blaming the boyfriend for Gianni contracting HIV, saying that he wasn't really with all of that, but, you know, he just did it because you wanted to do it. And he said, what did you ever bring him? What did you bring him? You didn't give him a family, you didn't give him this, you didn't give him that. But, you know, you have to understand, at that time, people weren't getting married. I mean, you couldn't get married. You know, gay people couldn't get married at that time, and they damn sure couldn't adopt no kids. So, you know, it's understandable that she's upset that her brother is sick. So, you know, she's lashing out at the person that's closest to him. You know, not thinking about the context of during that time, you know, of course he don't have a family. So when he died, he don't have kids that's going to carry on his legacy or anything like that. So she lashes out at him and all of that. She said she would have given him respect if he would have given him anything, but he didn't give him nothing. She basically walks out on him. So yeah, Gianni and Antonio are walking on the beach, and Gianni just talks about how he can't, you know, deal with the disease that he has, and he just wants it out of his body. He could barely walk. I mean, Antonio is basically holding him up this time. When they come home, Donatella is waiting, and he said he can't do all of this. When they start going back and forth, you know, he can't do all of this. So then we flash forward to the future, where Donatella, or till the present, where he's dead. Antonio is trying to talk to Donatella, but she basically tells him, like, my brother is dead now, so there's no need for us to pretend about anything. And so she leaves, and when she's leaving out, she leaves to the paparazzi. They taking a million pictures of her. She arrives at the funeral home. She picks the flowers, the suit, you know, gets him ready for his funeral. You thinking that it's going to be a funeral, but it's not a funeral. And she picks his stuff, and she sits and waits, and they cremate him. They show him going into the furnace, and then they put him in a beautiful box. She puts, you know, I think it was like cufflinks or some type of clips, you know, with their initials on it, and she gets on the plane. It's a really somber scene, and she travels back to Italy with her brother in a box. Now, what I thought was interesting was that she never shed a tear. She didn't drop one tear until she saw her brother in that casket, fully clothed and everything, you know, ready for cremation. So that was interesting that she never shed a tear. Like, she was stoned and hard-faced in it. Okay, hard-faced in it like this whole episode, except for that one moment. It's interesting to think about how, you know, she must have felt at that time. You have your brother in a box. Like, who would ever think you'd be traveling with your brother or your sisters, that somebody was so close to you, in a box, you know, back to your country? So nobody ever wants to make it home that way. You know what I'm saying? So we're back to May of 1997. This is right before, you know, a couple of months before he killed Versace. So he pulls up to a Walmart in a red truck, then he sees and steals, tries to steal the license plate, or he steals the license plate, but I don't think he got a chance to put the other one on their car or whatever. So he just stole the license plate, but a girl sees him, a little girl, and he just gets in the car and drive away. Now, the fun fact about this, the true part, is that red truck that he was in, he took that truck from his murder victim. So he murdered somebody, I want to say in New Jersey, before he drove to Miami. So that truck belonged to that man. So they didn't show us that, or they might show us later on in the series, but that did happen in real life. So a little girl sees him, she's staring dead at him, okay? She was sitting there staring at his ass like the Ring, okay? So he gets in the truck and drives away. He drives away, and when he's riding in the car, he hears his name on the radio, because he's on the, you know, he on the most wanted list. They looking for him. It's a manhunt for him. And then he flips the station, and that song Gloria is on, and he starts singing the song, and he's so happy. Y'all, this man is obsessed with fame, and it took me a minute to realize that he was elated at the sound of his name on the radio, because he wanted to be famous. And I think at this point in his life, he really didn't care how he became famous, even if it was infamous. So the fact that he was singing like he was singing, I mean, just in pure joy and ecstasy of hearing his name being called over the radio for a manhunt after he's killed 4 people, y'all. Like, that he already killed 4 people. Crazy. Like, you getting a glimpse into the insanity and the, you know, the psychopath that lives within Andrew Cunanan. He was also eating some milk and cookies when he was driving, okay? When he arrives in Miami, he checks into this hotel. It's a seedy motel. He sees some, you know, character sitting outside. He walks in, and this is where they show you this interaction with the secretary, or this interaction with the attendant at the desk. Was really interesting to me, because he always came across very nice, but you can tell he lies. Like, he lies like a rug, okay? He lied like a rug, honey. And you can see how in the mirror he practices having normal conversations with people. He tells a woman he's from France, he's from Nice, he has a fake ID, and the rooms are only $29.99 a night. So y'all know this is a seedy motel. So he lies to get in. He tells her that he's a fashion student and he traveled all the way down just so he can have a few words with Gianni Versace. He goes on and on and on, y'all. And she says, listen, it's $29.99 a night, and she ain't got time for all this. You know, because people try to leave all the time. And she said, I chased somebody. That was cute. When she said, I chased somebody for 2 blocks. And he was like, did you catch him? She's like, hell no, I'm just trying to keep my job. Okay, so I like her. You know, she don't want no problem. She like, listen, you tell on the story, just give me this $30 to go about your business. So he goes up into his room, which is really ratty. He takes out the gun and he kind of looks at the gun. And then we see him walking around on the beach at night, right across the street from Versace's house, and he starts taking pictures. He's walking up to the Medusa sign on the door, looking at the Medusa sign on the gate, and taking all these different pictures of the house and the balcony and all different types of things. And so when he gets back to his room, we see him laying all the stuff out on the bed like a, you know, a typical crazy person do, or somebody that's obsessed with something, you know, put a collage on the wall, or, you know, he was getting his collage together, honey, to put on the wall, okay? Then we come to the police. So the police, the FBI is down, and we have our character Daya. She is, her name is not Daya, y'all, but we just gonna call her Daya, because that's all I know her as. Daya is there, and you can tell that she's pissed, because the police don't think that he is in Miami Beach. They don't think he's on South Beach. They think he's in Fort Lauderdale somewhere. They have this idea that he's targeting older men, wealthy men, and, you know, people, I guess wealthy people don't hang out on South Beach, but, you know, she's trying to tell them, okay, we can do this in one day and get it done with, you know what I mean? So, like, we can canvass the area, put out the flyers, and, like, the flyers are not our priority. They only had 10 flyers, and she's just like, this some bullshit. Like, you can tell her instinct is, he's in South Beach, he's right under our nose. The FBI really dropped the ball on this case. They really did. And I partially think that it's because they were gay, and you know, this was a gay murder, and so you know, they wasn't like the top of their priority list. Only reason they got a little shine was because he killed Versace. I mean, Versace was a huge star, but at the same time, this is a gay crime, so I kind of think, you know, that inherent prejudice may have pushed them, their priority, to the bottom of the totem pole, because they just seemed like they wasn't even really tripping like that, or like, we're not here to take advice from you or take ideas or whatever. It just makes sense, like she said, to canvas the area that's right there. Why don't you just canvas there first? So she sneaks and makes some copies and starts putting them up in the office. So Andrew is back in his room. He's trying to get a better room because he looked out and he doesn't have an ocean view. So he practices his conversation in the mirror, and then he goes to the desk and charms his way into getting a actual oceanfront room. So he walks out on the balcony and he sees the seedy dudes that was downstairs. So he goes downstairs and he meets Ronnie, who is like a crackhead slash prostitute, and he live on South Beach, and they become quick friends. Walking down the beach, we don't know if Andrew is lying or telling the truth when he's telling him, I worked at an AIDS clinic, I met all type of people, I did this and the other. And you can tell that Ronnie could tell that he was lying when he said, I lost my best friend and the love of my life. He said, in the same year? Yeah, in the same year. Yeah, you can tell it like took him back, like, I know he lying, but for somebody who really don't have a lot of friends, he probably wasn't even tripping like that. Like, okay, I know he be lying, but you know what I'm saying? It's still cool. Ronnie tells him he has HIV, and he thought he was dying, but then, you know, all of a sudden he got these pills, and now he has a new lease. He had a new lease on life, and he really didn't know what to do with it. So you came to Miami and got on crack? What the hell? Okay, Ronnie. Ronnie seems like a nice enough character. He just minding his business. He tells this story about how Versace took him out to this restaurant with this top chef, and you know, then he said, then he proposed to me. I said, boy, why you always lying? Andrew asked me, lying child, that's a lying fool. I said, this boy ain't never proposed to you no damn where, child. You need to stop. He said it didn't work out, but you know, they still friends. I cannot. So Ronnie is like, he's a nice guy. You know, if you wave to him, he'll wave back to you or whatever, but you know, I really like his clothes. And the man is, and you know, he's like, well, you know, he's a great man, and he go on about Versace. Is this how he made his own fabric? He was like, listen, I look through the windows and I see the clothes and I really don't like them or whatever. And he says, you know, he's a great creator and he's a great man. You know, a man I could have been. And then the dude says could have been with, and then he just smiles. We never know if Andrew is obsessed with Versace, like he's in love with him, or he's obsessed with his power and his fame and, you know, his status. So that's an interesting point. That's something I caught. I don't know if y'all caught that too. So while they're on the beach, this old white man is staring at Andrew, and you can tell he wants them goodies. So Andrew tells him, look, he take care of his friends, don't worry about this, they're gonna split the money between them. So he takes this old man to a hotel, and y'all, when I tell you this shit went to the left, okay, everything he owns in a box to the left, I said, what the fuck? This is when you be like, what am I watching? What am I watching? Okay? He took this man to a hotel. They got to the hotel. The man sit down. I knew it was gonna be something when he said I could be submissive. I said, oh man, you don't know what you done got yourself into. You done met a whippersnapper. He about to kill your ass. But I'm pretty sure that Andrew didn't kill nobody in Miami except for Versace. So I knew it wasn't gonna be a murder, but I knew it was about to be something that just was gonna disturb me. And guess what? It actually disturbed me. I was literally sitting in my living room like, I don't know what type of emotion I should be having at this moment. So he take the man said he could be submissive. If you notice at the beginning, he asked him, how many people you manage, what do you do for a living, like trying to see what his power dynamic was so he could like snatch that shit from him basically. He lays the man down and starts wrapping duct tape around his head. You know, I'm thinking he gonna leave you a space to breathe, but clearly that was not the case. And baby, that nigga jumped out the bed, he say da 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 da. Bow, bow. And he said, accept it, accept it, accept it. Bitch, I was sitting in my house like, no, God, accept, what is this? What am I watching? Oh my God. You know what it reminded me me of. It reminded me of you ever seen Silence of the Lambs? That scene where Buffalo Bill is putting on the lady parts that he sewed together and he dancing around in that robe with no clothes on and a cigarette in his hand. That shit reminded me of that 100%. Also reminded me of American Horror Story Hotel, that whole scene. Just the whole setup of the whole scene, the pink underwear, the dancing around the room, the neon colors. It all reminded me of American Horror Story Hotel. Y'all let me know what you think about that. So he finally jumps up when the man about to die and punctures the tape with a knife or pen or something. And this old man was, let me tell you, he was shook to his core, honey. I bet you that boy ain't even looking no boys no more. Okay, after that you see him eating a steak. You know, he got him a lobster and a steak, and he's going on talking about how his mom used to bring him lobster when he was a kid at the school. He be having his crushed black pepper like a little cocaine, and you know, the dude is scared. He's scared. He out of his mind, freaked out. Okay, and then he just get up and walk out the door when he was like, I used to have my little black pepper like a little eighth of cocaine or whatever, and just walked out the room. That man closed that door and slammed that damn door and locked it and put that ring back on his finger. Oh, now you're married. Oh, now you worry about your, oh, now, okay. He picked up the phone and called 911, and after he realized this was gonna make me look bad, you know, I can't be out here like this, you know, I was up out here about to school this little boy here, a prostitute in Miami. How I'm gonna look? He said nothing. The lady said, what's your emergency? He said nothing, and he hung up the phone. So we with Gianni and Donatella at a fashion show, and Donatella comes in. The fashion show, y'all, if you didn't notice, it was held on top of the pool, okay, at his house. They covered the pool. That's what that was, at his damn house. Fabulous. So Donatella is there, and she's like, you know, everybody talking about McQueen, basically telling him you need to stay, you know, forward thinking. You can see the dichotomy between them two, that she was more forward thinking. She wanted to use the emaciated models, you know, things that was trending during that time. And he like, listen, I want my models to look like they eat, bitch, like they enjoy life, like they have sex, like they have a good time. You know, I really think that Gianni Versace would have really been for a plus size model. I really think that his vision was much more forward thinking, even than Donatella, his sister, to have a more realistic looking woman in his clothes. They like I said, they spend a lot of time letting us know, you know, about him being humble. And he goes into this whole diatribe about, you know, living his life, and, you know, her clothes are morbid and they sad, and he, you know, his is about living life, especially because now he's on medication and he's feeling much better and he's back to work and he's inspired, and, you know, he wants his clothes to represent that life. And they're like, okay, well, we're gonna have a competition and what the wood. So they have she asked him about the bride, how you gonna do the bride, and he says, oh, I'm gonna have her in a silvery dress with a veil that's not over her face. She's gonna be a Versace bride. She's not gonna be a virgin bride. She's gonna be a woman. She had many lovers, you know. She's finally found her equal, and, you know, somebody who, you know, can handle her power as a woman. I was like, Gianni, you better say that shit, okay? You better say that, Gianni. Versace. Fashion show happens, and of course Gianni's designs are just, you know, hailed and applauded, and Donatella's was kind of like, you know, they didn't really clap for you. You could tell she felt a little type of way, but when he looks at her, he smiles, and it seems like, you know, it was all in good fun, or it was never like a competition that was gonna like really separate them, you know, because I mean, what's good for Versace, if they like it, it's good for all of us gonna get paid. So, you know, ain't no need for us to be arguing. Ronnie and Andrew smoking crack together, and they run out of it. But Andrew goes into the bathroom. Well, they don't run out of it yet. Well, he don't know that yet. Andrew goes into the bathroom and he wraps up his own head with duct tape, which is crazy as hell once again. And the dude is talking outside the door. And Ronnie is like, you know, I was a florist, and I could, you know, we can run a kiosk together. We get along pretty well. And he knock on the door, and you're going to think like for a minute he going to find him in there passed out or something. But no, he opens the door, and Andrew is like, I'm going to take a shower with masking tape around his whole head, y'all. So at this point, Ronnie is like, okay, this motherfucker is not normal, okay? He kind of loopy, he kind of crazy, like it freaked him out a little bit. But, you know, I think Andrew had this quality about himself that he was so charming that you wanted to keep talking to him. He was interesting, he was aloof, he was different, he was crazy as hell. Crazy people are always interested and aloof, if you notice that. He tells them that they out of drugs, and Andrew tells him, okay, I'll get some more drugs. So Gianni is working on some designs, and his boyfriend Antonio is in the bed with another dude playing around. He get out the bed and like, okay, you want to join us? And Gianni is like, nah, you go play. I'm gonna keep working. So you can tell like they were trying to show us what Donatella said. Gianni wasn't really into all of that shit, but he was just doing it because his boyfriend liked it and he was trying to make his boyfriend happy. Now the next morning we see Gianni in the pool and he swims up to Antonio, and Antonio tells him that he doesn't want that stuff anymore. He just wants to be with Gianni. And Gianni says, say my name when no one is around you. Say, baby, I love you if you ain't running game. He said, can you say my name in the light and in the dark? I said, wait a minute. Get him together, Gianni, because you can't be doing all of that if you can't call my name in the midnight hour. Hello. Meanwhile, Andrew goes out to the pawn shop and pawns off some jewelry or something he stole. I can't even remember what it was. It was like a coin or something like that he stole. And the lady like, where you got this from? He's like, it's a remarkable story. You know, it's a remarkable story. Like, I know he got to be musty. He looked musty as hell in this whole episode. He just looked must. Because I ain't see him put a piece of deodorant on, honey. Okay, I saw him take a shower, but he ain't put no deodorant on, baby. So I know he had to be musty walking out there on that beach like that. And she looks around to see if they had wanted posters, but there was no wanted poster. I wonder why. So she does the transaction and everything. So Andrew is walking close to that mansion, basically across the street from the mansion, and he sees this blonde woman going up to the mansion. He's like, it's your sister, but we find out it's really just a drag queen pretending to be Donatella. And then Gianni comes on the balcony. He's like, I already have one Donatella. It's enough for me, baby. I can't let you in tonight. Okay, you have a nice night. Like, it was a real cute exchange between the two of them. And so he's so like hyped up by this fact that he gets to see him. He think he gonna have his chance to kill him. So he runs back to the room. He gets the gun. He takes out all the pictures and he leaves the room. And he goes to his friend's room and tells him goodbye. And the friend, as they walking out the door, friend was like, you don't have that money, do you? And he turns around, you think he about to kill this dude, but he just give him half the money. And dude was like, we was real friends, right? Like, that was real, wasn't it? Because you know, Ronnie know he a liar. Child, he lie about every damn thing, okay? He says, when somebody asks you, were we friends, you will say no. Basically letting you know that I'm on borrowed time. I'm about to get caught for doing whatever it is that he did. Oh, because earlier I forgot to say, he did say when he came out the bathroom, what did you do? And he said, I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything my whole life. Nothing my whole life. Says, you know, when somebody asks you, you gonna say no. Now we're back at the police station with Zaya. She's walking out the police station and she looks back at the wall where she put up that poster, and it's quickly been covered up with other things, and she's kind of frustrated with the whole situation and just walks out. And Andrew is at the beach. He's staring at Versace's house. So Versace comes out with his boyfriend and they going out that night. So they going out. He goes into a diner and a dude recognizes him and he calls the police. Police come, but they're too late. He's already gone. Versace and Antonio go to this club called Twist, and Andrew is soon following them, or you know, going that same way, because I didn't see him actually see them and follow them, but he ends up at the same club too. And if you notice, Twist was one of the clubs that police officer Daya had said they should canvass and talk to the club owners, but that the FBI didn't want to do that. A place where you think when somebody like Versace wouldn't go was exactly the place where he was, okay? And all in up a twist, Andrew is like in a frenzy. He's walking through, you can tell he's like unraveling. He's walking through, busting through, you know, the stalls, and like the police, you know, checking to see where he is. I'm sure he has the gun in his pocket or his bag or something like this. And he finally loses them because they already left. And when they're outside, you have a moment with them where Antonio says, no, I want to be with you. I don't want to be with anybody else. Let's just go home or whatever. So you can see they kind of like getting their relationship stuff together. And so, but then you see on Andrew's part, he's walked through the club. He finally realized that they're not there, and he catches eyes with another guy, goes downstairs, and the dude is like, hey, you know, my name is such and such. What do you do? And he tells him, I'm a serial killer. Like, he said it straight up. Serial killer. I'm this, I'm that. Sometimes I'm this. Sometimes my dad does this. Sometimes. And he started telling all the lies. He was telling, you know, like I said, you can see that he's unraveling. He coming towards a break. And then he says, I'm Andrew Cunanan, and the episode goes off. All in all, this was an excellent episode. Y'all, I'm hyped to see what's gonna happen next week. And I want to learn all about Andrew. I want to learn about his childhood. I want to learn about, you know, when they discovered, do his parents know he crazy? Like, I want to know about the previous murders, and I think they're gonna go into those previous murders, because at first I was like, okay, well, if him and Versace didn't have a lot of interactions, how are we gonna, you know, sustain this for 10 hours, okay? But they're clearly gonna go into the past of Andrew and all of that stuff. So it's really, this show is very interesting to me. It was shot, again, the music music was fantastic. I mean, featuring music from the 80s, the early 80s, I mean the early 90s, excuse me, and the late 80s. Great music, again with the opera music with Gianni, and then we're in the bed. That scene was fantastic. The music for the fashion show, the fashions for the fashion show. I don't know if y'all remember that, but those drape tops and, you know, naked back dresses, that was popular. And you know how when something becomes popular and knockoff style started, you know, you end up with it in Forever 21 or whatever. So they had all those dresses with the one string in the back and the drape across the front, you know, that sexy kind of handkerchief type dress. That stuff became popular during that time. So, you know, it's cool to see, you know, that this show was casted so well. Oh my God, everybody looks exactly like Penelope Cruz is killing it. She's killing it. Okay, so I want to hear your thoughts about the show. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with all your friends. I'll holler at y'all next week. Peace.